There's no secret that I used to be a bad boy.
Me? I went to high school. Every girl said, I want a sensitive guy. I want a guy that'll look at the sunset and just cry. But 100% I guarantee you, none of those girls ended up with guys like that. Those guys,
I don't know what to do. It just takes work. There is two pains.
Well, that's
you
what
can
I'm saying,
either
yeah.
suffer becoming this guy that you look up to, because obviously hypergamy is marrying across or up, or you're gonna feel the pain of, you know, being a loser, and then you get into divorce. No one respects you.
wait, what? I'm confused right now.
Right.
You just said a hyper masculine woman hijabi.
Yeah. Maybe I'll show you the video.
No, I'm good. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. So we have our brother Gabriel Romaani, mashallah, here with us. Hayyakumullah. Hussein, huh? Barakallah feek. Munir, mashallah. Fellow San Diegan. The one I train on how to work out. Yes. Alhamdulillah. He's learning well. Star pupil. Yes. Alhamdulillah.
All right, Bismillah. Shaykh Uthman, we got to get right into it. We don't want to take a lot of your time.
Let's do it. Welcome, marhaban. Welcome to San Diego, man. Hayyakumullah.
Shaykh, this is basically a follow-up. We were together about what, like 2 months ago or so?
About, yeah.
Two or
three.
So we did a little episode and we were basically talking about the sisters and the difficulties that sisters face in getting married and the difficulties that brothers face with getting married with sisters. We covered some very taboo topics.
Nice.
People were flagging us and whatnot, but it's like the sincere truth. And a lot of people, they realize it, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Right? It stings. The truth stings. So our discussion was around the false expectations that women have when it comes to marriage and how they don't understand why men are quite sensitive today when it comes to picking a sister, specifically when it comes to the issue of virginity or being a muhsina and being bikr and so on and so forth. A lot of them like, why? It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal and so on. Anyway, we covered that. There's no need to get into it again. But I do want to ask you a question. It's going to lead us into, we wanted to cover the brothers today. And we're going to kind of entitle this like 5 tips for boys to man up and finally get married.
Nice.
Featuring Shaykh Uthman and Farouk. But there's no secret that I used to be a bad boy.
Me? No, don't tell my mom.
So the question is, Shaykh Uthman, why do women like bad boys? Even good women. No, honestly, come on. Even
no,
sisters.
of course. I mean, look. The thing with is, what we consider bad boys today are not necessarily bad boys. So the thing is, because the norm has become so rainbow colored that now when anybody just kind of stands up for good, even, they're considered bad, right? So if somebody has ghira or somebody has a manly attitude, somebody's not going to put up with certain things, people flag them like a troublemaker.
Right.
But, because most men are just so feminine nowadays. I mean, I don't know if it's some of the GMOs or something or cultural practices, but today men don't man up. Like, I'm not talking about boys, I'm talking about like 40-year-old men that are going to get their feelings hurt if they don't get their latte right or something, So then when you have somebody that kind of does stand up for the right, then they're considered, oh, he's a gangster, oh, he's tough, or it's not even about that. And women obviously like that, because if you look at basic human nature, if you look at psychology and the development of sociology, men were protectors, right? Men were there. What was the value of a man, right? And I'm going to be politically incorrect and all that kind of stuff. So, if we get canceled, we get canceled, right?
Yeah,
so if you take it Islamically, even if you take Islam out of it, maybe a lot of viewers that are not Muslim, you will learn that Islam takes the fitrah, meaning takes the natural role or where women, men, family should be, right? So if you take nature even, look at how men physiology was, they were protectors, they were defenders, they would have to do those things that women couldn't do, right? For example, if you look at hunting, traditionally it's a man's thing.
Right.
They would slaughter animals. Like me, growing up, I was never scared of blood because as a little child, I saw my father slaughtering a lamb, slaughtering a goat, slaughtering sheep, and slaughtering cows or bulls, right? So when I manned up and I went for Eid al-Adha and I took my boys, they were little kids, I took them, right? I showed them, look, if you're going to eat meat, and you are going to eat meat because you got these canines, right?
Yeah.
Right? You need that protein, you need the... vitamin B's or whatever else, iron that
get in my health.
Right, exactly, right? Then you should know where it comes from.
Correct.
You know, but now today, if you take average American or average Brit or average Canadians, worse than that, right? And you tell them, okay, let's go to a farm and slaughter a sheep. Man, I'm talking about a man, a buff Marine, you know, Iron Man guy. Go slaughter this bull.
Yeah.
Right? They're not gonna do it. Oh my God, there's blood. Like, what do you think? Blood's good. You know. So what happened now? Women, of course, they like them men who are strong. Right now,
Alhamdulillah, now that we hit 1 million subscribers, I want to thank all the people who watch the videos by giving away my personal Bible. So something that I've had for more than 20 years with notes and highlights and stickies, I'm going to give it away. I don't want to sell it, I just want to give it away, but you got to be the one that deserves it. So how are we going to give it away? We're going to pick comments. So the more you comment on the videos, the better chance you have. Our brothers from OMF are going to review the comments and make sure that you're subscribed, and then check who's going to use it the best, and we're going to give it away to a viewer, inshallah ta'ala, to use for the da'wah, because whether I'm here or not, the da'wah never stops. How you doing? What questions? Ask. How you doing?
unfortunately, in Western culture, a lot of times strong men get put into a criminal mindset. Sometimes not out of want, right? Like, for example, in America, if somebody comes up and harasses my wife, and I step up and, you know,
take care of that,
put him in his place, I go to jail.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So many times, like I grew up in the hood, a lot of people, they weren't bad people, but they got caught up in it because they were doing good things. Somebody, you know, like I know a brother myself, you know, just became Muslim in San Diego, and he got involved in some very bad stuff before Islam.
Yeah.
But it's because somebody tried to rape his sister, you know, so then they were not Muslims, obviously, but he stepped up, he defended, he did what he had to do, and he put some people in hospitals, and then, you know, he got charges on him, right? Now, again, Islamically, he wouldn't, right?
Yep.
Islamically, he did the right thing. He defended and the honor of his family, right? But in Western law, no. Like, you know, I was recently in a country, I won't mention the name, starts with the U, ends with the K. You know, right? And I was talking to somebody, and they said, you know, in this country, even if somebody steps into your house and, you know, they're going to harm your family, you can't defend yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you have whatever you need for defense, I'm going to be careful what we say here, right?
Yeah.
You can't do anything, right? You just have to sit there and watch and call the police. And if it takes half an hour, whatever they get done, they leave. You got to sit there and wait. Well, now, if you don't do that, you're considered bad. But as a woman, you know, you want a husband that's not going to do that, because you're going to a husband that's going to defend you. You want a husband that's going to defend your children, that's going to defend your household. And people think, oh, we're civilized now, we don't need to be like that. But that's not reality. The reality is we still are the same humanity, even in the UK or in other countries, right? Right? There's crime.
That's true.
Right? You go out on the wrong alley in the wrong city, there's crime. And, you know, if somebody steps up, what are you going to do, right? Are you going to be the guy that sits and watches and cries? Or are you going to be the guy that stands up and does something no matter what the consequences, but lives by your honor, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think in sociology, look at the mindset of a woman. She likes a strong man because that is the natural role of a man. Just like a man likes a feminine woman. Well, why do we call it feminine? From female, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if you look at the rainbow people, the funny thing is, they still try to imitate the natural order, right?
Roles.
Which makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that you are not, attracted to the opposite gender, but then you attract somebody that pretends to be the opposite gender. Correct. Right? So I mean, so the reality is that we're hardwired with that male-female attraction.
We need that polarity.
Well, right. And then even if your fitra, even if your natural state gets corrupted, you still go back to it.
Yeah.
But you just do it in a corrupted manner because of whatever societal, issues that are going on. So
Living without purpose, strength, wealth, respect from your wife and your family is painful. What's even more painful is having the perfect guidance from the Quran and Sunnah at your fingertips, but saying, I'm as good as I am. It's time to stop putting yourself down, guys, and start transforming yourself into a respected leader, a strong believer that you are destined to be. So join me, Gabriel Romaani, and hundreds, thousands of other men to revive the masculine Muslim man within the Ummah. And this is what the Ummah needs. Link in the description. for the Muslim Alpha Man 2.0 course. Bismillah, let's do it. There's one thing that we discussed today, just to link to that, or we'll go to Mexico. There's one of my clients, she's a lady, messaged me, and she said, she basically showed us the video of this quite popular woman. She's a hyper-masculine girl, hijabi, and basically she's
Wait, what? I'm confused right now.
Right.
You just said a hyper-masculine woman hijabi.
Yeah. Maybe I'll show you the video.
No, I'm good. I wanna sleep tonight.
What the sisters were saying, though, she said, myself and other friends of mine, we are falling for her, being attracted to her. Yeah. And she said, because of height.
I wasn't ready for this subject today.
Saying that, and I said, explain, like, elaborate. She said, well, it's like she appears as a woman, but her attributes and her sifat are very masculine. And it becomes very attractive.
And she's a hijabi.
She's a hijabi, yeah.
It's like a tomboy slash, like very aggressive, very like,
very
but there is hadith on this. Rasulullah said, "La'an Allah ala imratin mutarajjala." And Rasul says, the curse of Allah is upon the woman that acts like a man, right? Wa rajul muannath, or a man who pretends or acts like to be a woman, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think we can ever have hyper masculine hijabi, because those two things don't mix. Either she doesn't understand the concept of hijab.
No, forget about her. The weird thing, Shaykh, is about the women who are attracted to her. It's not about her. But do you think what we were figuring out, I was trying to connect this, but a lot of the sisters oppose those type of sifat, those attributes in a man. Oh, I don't want him to be rough. I don't want him to be overpowering. I don't want him to be, so assertive.
Manly.
Yeah. But when they find those attributes in a woman, strangely they get confused.
Well, I think even in a man, I think women say those things.
Right, but
like I went to high school, right? I'm going to leave Islam out of it, right? I went to high school. Every girl said, I want a sensitive guy. I want a guy that'll cry with me. I want a guy that'll look at the sunset and just cry. But 100% I guarantee you, none of those girls ended up with guys like that. Those guys ended up all on their own, sitting crying somewhere in the corner, right? That's not reality. That's just something you say, because Western society has kind of brainwashed a lot of women into thinking that, okay, a feminine man is what you're looking for. But their fitra, their nature will always come out, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a good point, that even if you have a woman who pretends with those kind of qualities, it will start looking attractive to other women, because those are hardwired in your genetics to be attracted to those qualities, because those are male qualities.
So Shaykh, our brothers, as you said, some of these brothers, mashallah, may Allah bless them, they are in a sense showing very weak characteristics today. What would you say for guys to man up? What would be like the first thing that they should consider? There's a lot of young men who message us and talk to us. The brothers are coaching all the time. They are into fitness and so on. And we get the same question, like, what do I do to be ready? How do I know I'm ready to get married? How do I know I'm a man? Like, this shit, correct me if I'm wrong, in like Afghan and Pashto culture, there's a certain time in your life where there's a tradition where almost like an initiation into manhood. Whether it's hunting or...
Yeah, for us, like the Pashtun culture, usually we get married very young.
Right.
Basically, you hit puberty, you set up your kind of setup at home, and you do what you have to defend your family and all that kind of stuff, and then you get married.
What if missing Salatul Fajr would be a thing of the past? What if waking up super early, energized, will be the standards in which you are going to live by moving forward? It sounds great. Listen, what I'm about to share with you will have the ability to clear your mind, reset your body. In order for you to harness the genius of your mind, you'll be able to have what we call deep work. Never feeling sluggish after eating lunch or having no energy to get your workout in, taking care of your family, doing your ibadat. This guide that I'm about to give you for free has never been shared with anyone. No fitness influencer, no health coach, no one in the sphere of health and wellness is sharing with you. I'm gonna give you my step-by-step guide to your health reset for free based on the Sunnah. This is what I came to accumulate after years and years of being in the fitness and health industry. And let me tell you, some things has nothing to do with health and wellness. It's everything about building a shell. This is not what I'm about. This is not what I'm promoting to you guys. The shell is as important as the inside as well. And having the ability to go through life doing everything that you're meant to be at a higher level of energy and focus. That's the goal. So go ahead and check the link in the description in order to get your free guide. Listen, you might ask, why is it free? It's free because you are joining in a mailing list of winners. When I'm going to be sharing with you health, mindset, business, any acumen, something that I might enjoy, I'm going to share it with you. So if you like that, go ahead and drop your email. I'm going to share with you the entire guide. Assalamu alaikum.
I don't understand when people ask, like, what should I do? Like, man up, that's it. You know, there's not much. I mean, you know, you don't have like X, Y, Z. You know, just step up, go get married, get a job, you know, finish whatever school you want to finish or whatever you have to do, pay your bills, be a man.
So there's no whistles and bells at all.
No, no.
A checklist or something.
Why do you need
like
a checklist? I mean, I could give you a checklist, but then you know, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about that. the alamat of bulugh are in the fiqh books, you know. So you got hair on your chest, you know, let's just leave it at that. You know, I mean, step up, you know, I mean, I don't know, like when brothers get overly complaining about, oh, I can't get married, man. You know, what are you waiting for? You know, go find, if you want to find a good religious practice woman, you can find one, you know. But the problem is people are like, they're not willing to take that step, you know. Like maybe you got to go to another country. Maybe you got to step up to a brother in the masjid, be like, look, you know, I want to get married. You got a daughter, like out of respect. I just want to, you know, be straight about it, you know. But just do it, you know. People that think too much. My father used to say this, and it's a Pashto saying, I'll translate. He said, you know, don't overthink things because it weakens the resolve. You know, people sit around nowadays, oh, what should I do? How should I go about it? Just do it. Get up. Man up, right? I mean, like we didn't have this choice growing up. When I was maybe 11, a guy broke into my house, you know, and it was just me and my mom, right? So I remember, it was some crackhead, you know, and he had broken a thing, because I used to live in this messed up house, and the wall was, we could break through it, and he broke it. He was trying to unlock the door, and there was a hole, right? That's where he had put his hand in. And my mother had a GUN. I'm not gonna say it because then, right? And I took it, I just stuck it out the hole, you know, and he saw it in his face, and he walked away. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, what should I do? How should I do it? Should I? No, you had to do what you had to do, right? So you didn't second guess those things. Now people are like, you know, they're so weird about it. You know, people come to me sometimes like, I'm 30 years old, I'm not married. What should I do?
Right.
Get married. You know, my dad won't let me. You're 30. You don't need a wali.
My dad won't let me.
Yeah, I swear. You're 30 years old. You don't need a wali, right? Like.
But a lot of brothers be like, I'll get like disowned.
I don't know.
Parents won't talk to me.
What kind of parent disowns their son for getting married?
Well, you'd be surprised. They weaponize Rid al-Walidain against this.
Birr al-Walidain never goes against hukuk of Allah.
I agree.
Haqq of Allah, you don't go into haram. If you're out there doing all kinds of wrong things,
which most people,
right? Which most people are. If you're 30, unless you're on that other team, you know, you're not married, I don't know what you're doing. Cold showers can only take you so long, right? How many days a week do you fast, right? You know, go get married. You know, like this is your haqq. If your parents won't let you get married at 30, go to your sheikh, have them sit down with your dad, work it out, because that's just not acceptable, right? This is destroying society. See, Western society is about nifaq. It's about hypocrisy, right? Contradiction. You say one thing, you do another, right? You say, oh my God, I love my wife. She's the only one. Anniversary, flowers. And then you're at the strip club making it rain, right? So that's not how Islam's about. Islam's about, we say what we do and we do what we say, right? Look, you want to get married, get married. You want a second, take a second. You want a third, take a third. You want a fourth, take a fourth. Just do it. You know,
another kind of warmth.
Man up.
But that's a good point, though, Sheikh. I mean, do you think that this overthinking goes back to like, this is my only chance? I only get one wife, one life. That's it. I have to do it perfect.
But again, even that is not true. Even in Western sense, in the West, more than 50% of marriages end up in divorce.
Yeah.
Right. How many? And I mean, if you go through the like you, I don't know. Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up in? Romania. You grew up in
here, San Diego.
San Diego.
Algeria.
Yeah. Well, you're good. You're the only one here safe. You know? Right? But when you were growing up, how many relationships did people go through high school, through middle school, right? So, I mean, this whole one and done thing, is kind of a hypocritical stance anyway, right? Unlike Catholics or Hindus, in Islam, we realize there is sometimes a need for divorce, right? I mean, again, we don't want to go towards that. We want to avoid it all at best of our ability. But it's not one of those things where, okay, khalas, if you married somebody that you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Like, that's just not the way it is, you know? So what are you going to wait for? Perfection? Who's perfect, right? Anybody you marry is going to have some shortcomings. Every man and every woman, right?
True, yeah.
They're going to have pet peeves. They're going to have things that upset you. Maybe one will snore. Maybe one will laugh weird, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't be that fickle. You can't be that thin skin that's going to throw you off. Oh, no, my God, what if she gargles her milk when she drinks? Who cares, bro? Can she cook? Can she clean? Take care of kids? You're good to go. Let's get married. What else?
What do you mean, Sheikh?
What do you mean?
Can she cook? Can she clean?
What do you mean? Who's going to cook in the house?
That's not, it's not fardhan or Sheikh.
Well, akhi, first thing, who said it's not fardhan? Look, let's take it back. I know people always bring up this, Mama Nawawi said in his Muqaddimah.
Exactly.
I don't think I haven't read Mama Nawawi's Muqaddimah, right?
That's it.
I haven't read. Mama Nawawi never got married. All right? So, let's take it from those that have experience, right?
With all the
In the
respect,
Sharia, if you are doing your responsibility as a man, meaning you're out there earning your living, you're out there providing for your family, you're providing leadership, then it's your haqq that your wife takes care of the household, right? Ibn Taymiyyah has written on this, my own Shaykh Aminullah has written on this, right? Even if you say, okay, what are her basic fara'id? One of them is to obey your husband.
100%.
So your husband tells you go cook, now what?
Exactly.
Right?
Hit the kitchen.
Hit the kitchen, right? But just think of it from a fairness perspective even, right? Let's take it from a Western perspective, right? Okay, if you're telling the man, you have to go earn a living, it's not your choice, right? You have to provide a standard of living according to the urf and adat of the place, You have to do this, you have to lead, you have to go take on that stress, think about this, right? If a fire breaks out, who is the first one that expected to jump on it to take care of it?
Toxic man.
Men, right? You never hear, men and children first. No, women and children first, right? If a boat is sinking, right? It's so if you're expecting that, then in return, if a man comes home after working in halal, bringing his rizq, and he tells you, you were home all day, what'd you cook? That's not being rude. That's not being wrong. That is reality, right? And that's what all societies were upon, until the social fabric of society started to be destroyed, which has made life worse for women.
It's true.
Look, in the 50s or in the 40s in America, you had the same thing. Women would cook, clean, raise the children, give that beautiful upbringing for their awlad, for their offsprings, and men would go on, take on that leadership role. And what did we have? We had a society without mass shootings. Even though we had guns, it's not like guns just got invented in the last 10 years, right? We had a society where the LGBT nonsense, the trans, whatever, all these things were not present, right? Then, and I'm telling you, this is not something that was on accident. And I'm not going to get conspiracy theory here.
Right.
I'm going to give you facts, right? Go back to the 50s and 60s and look at the TV shows, right? In America, right? Leave It to Beaver. You had the dad, strong man, went out, good leader in the house, mom baking, cooking, giving good advice, right? Then what you had Homer Simpson. Al Bundy, Married with Children, The Family Guy, which I've never even watched. Whatever. All of them, the man's an idiot. He's a fool. The woman's right. It's what happened then. I was talking to a sociologist who's a professor, and he was saying the reason for the rise in trans in America, one of them, according to him, was because of that, because in the back of their mind, children understood roles: father, male, breadwinner, out defending, mother, nurturer, loving, house, right? And when those roles switched, right? When men were sitting around wearing aprons, watching TV, eating bonbons, and women are out there, having Me Too, then what happens? A lot of children in their psyche got messed up, right? Confused. And the Muslim community that's going towards this, we have to put a stop to it. I'm sorry whether, compassionate imams like it or not, I don't really care. Our loyalty to Quran and Sunnah has to go above that.
Correct.
Has to go above our fear of being canceled. And this is another thing. Men are so scared nowadays to say anything because they're so afraid. And because of that, our poor sisters, Muslim women, are being put in a place of harm, right? The Me Too movement, to me, was a wake-up call to the West, that you have put women in places where they have become victim to men where they shouldn't have been. If the concept of hijab and ghira and the proper marriage applied, the Me Too movement wouldn't exist.
That's true.
Right? But when you take a woman and you tell her, you go do whatever you have to do to be successful in your career. Well, whatever you have to do, sometimes entails things that end up being #MeToo, right?
Yeah.
Which is wrong. Like, we're against it. We condemn it. Correct. The Weinsteins and Epsteins, hey, they're all Steens. That's interesting. Anyway, don't connect too many dots, yeah? Right? The things that they did, right? And what enabled them was this breakdown of the family structures, right? If a father or a brother was, even from a non-Muslim perspective, chaperoning this kind of a thing, that would never happen. Well, 2 a.m., you go to a director's hotel room. What did you expect? He was, wanted to pray with you or something? So if men came back to being men, leaders, protectors, respecting women, we as Muslim men love our women to be educated, love our women to be intelligent, love our women to be like the Khadija radiyallahu anhas and Aisha radiyallahu anhas. But we do it in a way that is in the boundaries of the Sharia.
Yeah.
Right? The greatest women of this ummah were women that were in abayas and niqabs and those that did such a service for this ummah that men couldn't do at the time. I mean, Khadija radiyallahu anha did more for this ummah than I would say, any man, because she supported the Prophet ﷺ in such a time that nobody was there. Right? Aisha radiyallahu anha preserved so much of the knowledge and showed such great intelligence that I think, men would have a hard time competing with that even in that generation, let alone today, right?
Right.
There were women amongst the Sahaba, like, if you look at the Battle of Khaybar, the Battle of Khandaq, but then which led to Khaybar, during Khandaq, because the men were all out, it was only women that were inside Medina. And one of the people from Khaybar that betrayed the treaty and what happened, they came to scout to attack the women. Like what happened, Banu Qaynuqa and Banu Nadir and Khaybar, there's background. Like, we taught the Seerah here, in all the Sahih Hadith and stuff, right? So a woman, when she saw this spy, this woman from the Sahabiyat, with her abaya, it is Medina life, this is where they're covered. But they saw this danger, this older woman from the Sahabiyat, she killed him, cut off his head and threw it, right? And that's, so I'm saying like that is a woman. Even she did that, but she didn't sacrifice her haya and her modesty. Right?
She didn't want to join the army.
She didn't want to join. She didn't want to be like, I'm going to do push-ups with you, And this is all hypocrisy. Look, we just had, a big boxing fight just happened, right? It was Garcia or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch it, but the thing is, if Western society's hollow, hypocritical statements are true, put the best boxer female in the ring with them.
That's it.
I want to see, Mike Tyson, even at this age, and put him in the ring with the best female boxer. Let's see what happens. Let's play football together. American football and tackle football, right? It's not going to happen. Why? Because we know as a society that men and women are not the same, right? Women are important in society. Men are important in society. Women have their own role. Men have their own role. Equally as important. If a man doesn't play his role, society gets messed up. If a woman doesn't play her role, society gets messed up.
And they knew exactly how to actually break off the family. It's almost like the same, I would say, the story of Adam and Eve. Iblis didn't go to Adam because he couldn't come through it. It depends on the Israeliyat.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the way to the man, to the family to break it off is to attack the woman. And kind of giving her those ideas about how to be independent, how to be powerful. Then she becomes kind of like a masculinized person, which is a horrible version of a man. Then she abandoned her job as a mother because she can't be outside and inside. And she cannot be a great of whatever she is in her career because they are not built like us. They have a 28 days cycle, but us, we just sleep at night and we're ready to go again the next day. And that's kind of like how it goes. You make a woman useless in society. So the kids are lost. Somebody else will raise them, and they live pretty much a sexless life as well because there is no polarity. And as a woman stayed at home, she's relaxed. She's not stressed out. The man comes back. They kind of like had that distance between two of them. She's not super tired, but the man comes home. Then imagine the wife coming to, like, oh, who's gonna cook dinner? Who's gonna change the diapers? Who picked up the kids? And then it just becomes two dudes in the same house. Yeah. And then that's pretty much what the homosexuality is all about.
Allah protect us, man. This is going on the wrong path here. I mean, the thing with Hawa alayhi salam, I mean, most of those Israelis, as you mentioned. So, I mean, but shaitan, I mean, again, his waswas comes from every side, right? Correct. Even men, one of the things right now is if men mend up, I guess plural, right? Right? We wouldn't have this issue.
That's true.
Right? But the problem is, men are not manning up anymore, right? Today, like I work a regular job. I don't get paid from the masjid and things like this, right? And when I go to work, you know, the men at my work are more feminine than the women at my work, right? And it's just one of those things where you're like, what's wrong with you guys? You know, just and they will whisper to you things, you know, like, yeah, you know, my wife, and I was like, bro, she's not even here. Why are you whispering? Like they're that scared now that they won't even be able to speak, you know. But they have those emotions, they have those feelings, but they're so scared now, right? But I think the pendulum is going to swing back, right? I think society's had enough, you know, especially with the whole LGBT propaganda. When they saw it going to the children, and when they saw, you know, the people clearly saying we're coming for your kids, I think even non-Muslims have had enough, you know. Yeah. And that's one of the beautiful things about Islam, because we weren't going by societal pressures. We were going by Quran and Sunnah to begin with. We're not going this way and we're not going that way. We're staying in that middle, in the wasat, right? Correct. Because of that, now many non-Muslims are starting to fall in line with Islam, right? Yeah. Even the Garcia guy, I mean, whatever his other mental issues, whatever he may have, but even recently he just donated to Gaza and stuff, and he said, look, Muslims are the only ones that I see standing up against these kinds of things, right? If you look at, I was just, you know, another country, and I saw very classic old churches, like, you know, from centuries ago, right? But they had rainbow flags on them, right? And so it's interesting, my flight, when I was going, I had this preacher next to me. Qadar of Allah, right? Yeah. So, you know, I sat down, and again, you know, record that. I wish I had recorded it, right? It was an 11-hour flight, LAX to London. Yeah. And it was an 8-hour conversation. I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't. Right? So I get on the plane, I sit down, he's sitting next to me, his wife's on the other side, you know, and it's the bassinet seat, so they have like a baby, so, and he tells me, so, you know, are you a Muslim? And I was like, yeah, I'm Muslim. And he goes, but have you read the Bible? I was like, a little bit. So he's like, oh, okay, good, you know, because I'm a pastor. I was like, oh, great. What Bible do you read? And, you know, then I started getting in conversation, and he busts out a Greek English Bible, which is impressive that he has one, right, with him. So I started showing him the word logos, and I show him how it's used, and then he's like, wait a minute. So, you know, 8 hours we had a conversation, right? And we talked about the role of men and women. Of course, his wife was next to him, you know. So he was like, yeah, but biblically, men, well, you know, and I swear he was looking at his wife afraid to say what's in the Bible, you know. He goes, well, men were supposed to lead, but, you know, we do it together. You know, well, what do you mean? You lead together? Like, you know, you both lead, you know, like, right? Yeah, well, you know, well, but I don't understand that. Like, what does that mean? It's like, why are you on the couch? You paid the bills. You bought the bed, you know? Like, how's that even an option?
You know, the phenomenon of caveman. I bought this amazing house. Then I chose the garage to go and kind of stay there. So she like
it's a man cave or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So what's the house?
And I think this is like where the Prophet ﷺ said, the one calamity that I left behind me is women for this ummah.
The fitrat al-ummati al-mal. But أول فتنة بين إسرائيل was
in a woman. And I think a lot of people think it's about beauty and that we are actually flaunted by them and stuff. But I think it goes beyond that.
Of course.
It goes at the fact that they're fitna, that you're going to start making decisions and look it up to her approval and validation. And this is pretty much what most men are doing. And also society in a gynocentric world that we live in and female first social order, that in order for you to become a best man or the better man, you have to be more like a woman, open up, cry, and do all these different things, which kill attraction to a woman, as we were talking about.
I know, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that there is no polarity. So the man and the woman is telling him, no, I want someone who's soft, who's this. But what she's asking for, or what she responds to, are completely two different things.
Yeah.
This is why, as you said, the bad boy phenomenon. Yeah. Bad boy is indifferent. He doesn't care. This is why he is actually more attractive. Female likes him because he doesn't care about her response.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing. At my work, Andrew Tate's name came up one time, right? Now again, these are all non-Muslims, right?
Misogynist man.
So the funny thing is, I wasn't in the conversation, we had finished a meeting. I was sitting around, non-Muslim guys brought up the thing, and a woman said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you brought him up in this, and in this video, this." And I was just sitting minding my business because I'm at work. I got my own things to do. And I just said, "Well, you watch him. You're a fan, because you know all his videos. Because you're saying he said this, and on this video he said this." And she goes, "Yeah, I just watch him to know what he's saying."
Right.
Like, well, but then you're still a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's the funny thing, that if you look at our brother Sneeko, may Allah protect him, and you look at our brother Andrew Tate, may Allah protect him, and others, may Allah forgive their shortcomings and sins. We don't look up to them like ulama, right? But like Sneeko, mashallah, this Ramadan he was in the haram like again and again. He would be like calling me, I'm in Umrah. Then he went to the UK, then he's like, I'm going back from Umrah, let's meet up. I'm like, oh man, mashallah, Allah.
You can't get enough.
Alhamdulillah, right? And so many women that may talk ill of him, but like if you go to a video, like a YouTube channel, whatever, I'm sure your channel, you can look at statistics. Yeah. How many women, how many men watch, Yeah. Our channel is like 98% men, unfortunately, right? But if you go to a lot of their channels, it's mostly women watching, right? So that means they're saying it, but they're still watching, So they're right, exactly, right?
In female psychology, one of the researchers on female attraction was saying, to conclude the study, women might say that they're attracted to one thing but feel another.
Of course. Even if you look at men, many things that men are attracted to are basic human, development of sociology or, so on. Yeah, I don't want to get into details here, but even body parts that people look for, well, there's a reason behind it in the fitrah of insan, right? Correct. So the same thing with men, right? What was and is the natural responsibilities of men, and what characteristics would help them in it is what a woman will find attractive, right?
Wider shoulders, he's strong.
Shoulders,
right? Taller.
Taller. His attitude, his strong. Yeah, of course. Even not so much as physiques, but your qualities as a man. Yeah. Like how do you act? How do you carry yourself? So I saw a funny thing the other day. So we again, like I said, I work in the med device industry, right? So we do a lot of these, medical journals and all this stuff. So, and they have these blind studies that they do. Okay. So they did a blind study of women and men and attraction and so on. So it's very interesting. It was a medical journal. I was reading it, like a hard copy, not even an online one. So it said they had this thing about women. They asked in the blind study, so nobody knows who answered, about would you be attracted to a man who is physically attractive but financially broke? Well, in the study, when it was done, when they could see that you're putting the answers, women said yes. But in the blind study, I think it was like 90-something% said no. So what does that tell you? Well, you may say one thing, but you even know really that that's not the case, right? Mm-hmm. If a man is broke, and again, nothing wrong with being broke, I guess.
A lot of wrong.
Well, a lot of wrong. Come on. Look, I'm saying somebody may not have a choice. Somebody may be in a hard situation, wars and all that, right?
Anomaly, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Many of the past were poor and so on, right? But when you have the choice and you don't work hard and you're broke, something's wrong with you.
Correct.
Right? when you look at sometimes the brother, people here in the US, they sit there on welfare and all this, they don't work, they don't want to get a job. They're like, oh, I'm a zahid. You're not a zahid, you're lazy, right? Zuhud is like the types like Umar Abdul Aziz, who had the dunya in front of him, worked for the akhirah, but he didn't let the dunya affect him. See, this is another thing people forget. Zuhud doesn't mean that you live broke. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had nice clothes. He had that Yemeni cloth that the one that had black and red stripes. Books of hadith mentioned that was expensive, right? The Imma and ulama of the past, even the likes of a Nawawi, for example, who lived a life of zuhud, but he had some things that were expensive. Why? Because it's not about the dunya. It's like the boat on water, right? The boat's gonna have to tread on water. If you don't work and you don't make money, how are you going to feed your kids?
Correct.
Allah is not going to bring food from the sky. Allah can, but that's not the sunnah of this world, right? But at the same time, if you let the dunya get inside, then it's like the water going in the boat sinks, right? But this is the misconception. Nowadays, men aren't stepping up. I know a brother, subhanAllah, Muslim brother, whose wife was making a much higher salary than him. And then they ended up getting divorced. But he sued her for alimony. And he won. But it's just such a strange thing now, that now you're looking at. Right? It's interesting dynamic nowadays, right? May Allah protect us.
SubhanAllah, really interesting point when you said about like a guy who is physically attractive but broke, and they said no to. I think also this is a so common issue right now in whether the Muslim families or even mindset of a man. They start thinking, because of they watching a lot of red pill and stuff like that, they start thinking about themselves as an ATM, meaning like if I can provide, that's all that it matters. And if I can live by the minimal, let's say, requirements for a marriage to succeed based on Quran and Sunnah, that means I'm good. So what he does, he's bringing the money, bringing the stuff, but then he showed up, he doesn't know how to game his wife, he doesn't understand the seduction tactics that he need to do to get the best out of his wife. The wife has no clue how to do seduction techniques on the husband. The husband isn't physically strong, it doesn't demonstrate any masculine traits, they shave their beards, and they look like, you see what I'm saying?
They become roommates. Yesterday.
Who's cooking tonight? Who's cooking tomorrow?
We become roommates.
Roommates.
Wow. And I think that messed up a lot into the mind even of a man to kind of like, I don't know what to do. It just takes work. There is two pains. You can either suffer becoming this guy that she look up to, because obviously hypergamy is marrying across or up. You gotta keep striving, and that's kind of like what's attractive about men: never giving up, resilience, discipline, all these traits. You embrace the pain and you keep going, you keep showing up. Don't complain. That's your job. Allah bestowed it upon you and will reward you massively. Or you're gonna feel the pain of being a loser, and then you get into divorce. No one respects you. We are gifted from Allah with this. All these hormones, this ability to go outside, do whatever we want, build with our bare hands. Why would you waste that gift? Being ungrateful to the ni'mah of Allah is to put it to no use. And that's pretty much where most men are not willing to do the work and keep going and be multidimensional. They think about one thing, they hear one thing, okay, this guy has money, this is why he gets this woman. No, wrong. He's showing you only the aspect that he wants you to see, so you can buy a product in the back end or a course that you think might teach you how to be a man. But actually being a man is much more than just what you see, because they would never tell you the
course how to be a man. Just be a man.
But this leads into practical steps. Like, what are practical steps to actually get there for an average man who's who's very non-masculine, right? Like a guy who's not dialed in with his deen, not a man, not physically in shape or healthy or anything like that, and not strong, So I think the good practical steps to really build that is actually establishing a routine. Because if you look at the average guy who's struggling to get married and who's struggling to be a man, he doesn't really have a routine. He wakes up and does what he feels like, whether it's video games, scrolling social media, being lazy, laying in bed, being sorry for himself, complaining about women, but not actually bettering himself. So the average guy who's in that category, I think and I want to hear Shaykh Uthman's practical steps, but I just want to kind of chime in too. If you can build a routine, and maybe that person needs to build up slow, but the ideal routine you want to build to is maybe you do Fajr and Isha in the masjid, you eventually work to the other person too. But if you can at least start going to Fajr, start your day off that way, right? Get things going. Get the barakah of Isha at the masjid as well. Being around other Muslim men who are dialed on the deen, it's going to help you to fix your deen, because you can never have like a good pious woman if you're not a good pious man yourself. You know, Allah is not going to do wrong to a woman who's pious by giving her a man who's not properly dialed on his deen, who's, you know, wasted time looking at it.
True.
Okay, yes, an example of, you know,
but to your point, I mean, look, like I say, just gotta step up, right?
Yes.
You know what you have to do to be a man, right? I mean,
A lot of people don't.
how do they not know? I mean, like,
It's common sense.
It ties not common practice, and it ties in with what we were talking about before about societal norms, right? Like, why do women say that they want a thing that they actually don't want? It's because society's norm says that, and so it's socially acceptable to say what they say.
to be honest, even with women, right? I know a lot of revert sisters that wear abayas and niqabs and all of that. Alhamdulillah, you know, we've had so many shahadas and stuff, right? And they will then tell you that lifestyle of being covered made them free, right? And that's why you see, even in Mexico, you were just in Mexico, you know, we were down there a few weeks ago. They said 70 out of the 100% of the reverts, 70% are women, right? And in Mexico, in a country where, like you saw Tijuana, where you have all kinds of craziness, you know, women are loving the hijab. They're loving it. It's difficult for them because the men are not supportive enough, right? But again, when a woman becomes a Muslimah and she takes on the real role of a woman, she loves it, right? That's why they're voluntarily becoming Muslim. Nobody's forcing them, right?
Yeah.
And men, you know, it's in your nature to be a man. I mean, it's not that you don't know. It's that, okay, because of societal pressures, you may have gotten off track. So like you said, first thing, change your environment, right? Be around men, right? What do you watch? Instead of watching, you know, some, you know, stupid Netflix show, watch a, you know, a podcast with brothers who are strong, you know, get into your physical routine, right? Like, again, you know, get into your salah. But the one advice that I would give to men who, if they don't know how to be a man, right? Go back to the Quran and Sunnah. What does Allah ordain of you in the Quran? What did the Prophet ﷺ show us? What did the Salaf al-Salihin, the Sahaba, the Tabi'un, how did Umar ibn Khattab carry himself? How did Ali ibn Abi Talib carry himself? Radiallahu anhum. We love all of the Sahaba, right? How did Abu Darda, how did Abu Dujana and Abu Ukasha, radiallahu anhum. Read about them, right? Every Saturday we have this dars now of the 100. Why? Because people don't know the Sahaba today. Like today, people know, what's that dude, Will Smith, right? You know, Will Smith, I have no respect for, right? I was growing up, Will Smith was a rapper, right?
Exactly.
And then he became an actor, whatever, right? And a lot of people looked up to him. I never really liked him, but that's just my personal opinion, right? You know, when I lost all respect for him, his wife cheated on him, apparently.
Yep.
And what was his punishment? He did a podcast with her.
That was so painful.
That was the punishment. And that wife that cheated on him, then he slapped that dude for her, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you, your wife first, and fix what's going on at home, right? His son wears a dress and is falling in love with some dude, and he's like, I'm okay with that. He's not from Philly, man. I don't believe it. I think that it was faked, all that, right? Because how can you be a man and you're okay with your son dressing up like a girl? How can you be a man and you're okay with your wife having cheated on you? How can you be a man and carry yourself like that? I'm sorry, you know, even, you know, of course we want to give everybody da'wah and Allah, you know, give him hidayah and all that. I don't want to shake hands with him, to be honest, right? Because that's not something I can respect.
It's contagious too, Shaykh Uthman.
Yeah.
That's not contagious.
You put me around, we'll be contagious. Don't worry about that, bro. You know, so this is the problem, right? That look, I'll tell you something that just happened. This is exclusive for you guys, all right? I haven't even talked about it. All right. So on my way back now, when I was just flying back, subhanAllah, the cockpit had a fire, you know. So I was on the Delta flight from London to LAX, and you know and I didn't know. So the first thing, the entertainment screens all went blank, like the flash went blank. I was trying to sleep because I hadn't slept, but I was like, okay, something's wrong. And then the lights went out, And then they came back on, but I was like, something's wrong. And the plane went, right, like a crazy. And they made an announcement, look, there's a little problem. Of course, they don't want us to panic. We're going to land in Iceland. All right? Because I was going London to LAX, right? Yeah. So I knew something was wrong, right? So I was like, khalas, whatever. So then the plane went, like you felt your heart kind of like jump out and all that, right? So the guy next to me started crying, which again is pathetic. You're a grown man, like buff workout dude, he's crying, Yeah. I'm trying to send a text to my family, and then I did. I sent a text saying, "Look, I love you guys," because I know I don't have reception here, but my phone will somehow, after the crash, they'll go through, give my good nasiha about deen and all of that. Hit send, and I just put it away. And I told the guy, "So why are you crying?" And he goes, "What if we die? Then you die, But whatever God wrote for you will happen, right?" And he was like, "How can I have that confidence?" So I just had a good opportunity for that, right?
So nice, mashallah.
So I started giving him dawah, right? Now, at that time, he was literally crying, right? Which is really pathetic to me, and I was trying to control myself from going, dude, what's wrong with me? Right? So, I'm sorry, I'm from the hood, right? Right? So I just told him, look, everything's for a reason. God's there's purpose. He goes, I'm an atheist. He's from a Jewish household, but he was an atheist, right? So alhamdulillah, they landed the plane, and then everybody was like, oh yeah. I was like, So I took we got off at the airport, we're in Iceland in some remote, place, and I kept giving him da'wah, alhamdulillah. Once we got back on the plane, everything's good now, alhamdulillah. He told me, he goes, the whole time you were so calm, like, how can I have that? I said, become Muslim. And then he goes, well, what's a Muslim? And I started explaining, and alhamdulillah, he took his shahada.
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah. We're going to make a video on it. I have recordings.
No one takes opportunities like this.
You can't lose the opportunity for dawah, right?
It's like, okay, one more before this.
Your show is the first place people are going to hear about it. So, subhanallah, I started thinking everything is qadr, right? Allah wrote everything.
Everything just for him today.
Exactly. Yeah. All of that, Allah wrote good. And I told him, look, this whole thing happened because of you, I'm not blaming you. I'm giving you glad tidings that Allah wanted to guide you, that Allah wrote this time for you, And he messaged me afterwards too, It's not like, okay, it was just that time. He's like, okay, how do I pray? So I sent him the videos and all that. Alhamdulillah. So, think about this, right? As a man, when you have that confidence that Allah has written everything, when you have that confidence that everything's by the will of Allah, and you live by that, other men will even be inspired by you. So if you want to man up, learn your deen. Learn the Quran, learn hadith, learn about the Salaf al-Salihin, learn about the great A'imma and ulama. Change your environment. Don't be around guys that are wearing pink and lipstick, and some dude was showing me a UFC fighter that had his nails polished and his eyebrows plucked. I was like, I don't care if he's a 8th degree black belt. I can't be scared of a guy that wears nail polish, right? Like, he plucks his eyebrows, Tell you a funny story. When I was in high school, there was this guy. I went to a lot of high schools, right? The one I went to the more was called John Muir School for Humanistic Studies. It was a school made for kids that couldn't really get along in regular schools. We were good in school, but they just, fights or whatever. So it was a very small school, 300 something kids, kindergarten through 12th. So, my graduating class was 11 kids, So it was all we had Charles Manson followers, we had gang members, we had drug addicts, we had people that had stabbed teachers and all kinds of strange stuff. So one guy was this rock and roll, crazy, druggy, he had split his tongue in half, kind of a weird guy. But he had put nipple rings. And he had put a chain between them, right? And I remember looking at him going bro, why would you do that? Like what's wrong with you? That's not manly. That's not. And he goes, how much that hurt? I don't care. It just looks horrible, right? He got into a fight with this Mexican kid, and the first thing he did was, and all was like, man, right? And then you realize, why would you do that, right? That's why Allah didn't make a man zina, didn't make the beauty of a man in things like this, earrings and things like this. Allah, like Aisha radhiyallahu anha said, the beauty of the man is in the beard, right? Yeah. That's the zina of the man, right? Zina of the woman is in long hair, right? This is hadith of Aisha radhiyallahu anha, right? So now, when people change from that, they think as if, getting earrings and Now I see dudes, guys with nose rings and piercings, and they think that makes them look manly. It doesn't. You know where the nose ring comes from?
Cows.
You know, it's from Hindu culture.
Cattle.
So in the Hindu culture, when a woman got married, originally they would give her a nose ring to denote that she's the property of the family, like a cow. Right? Wow. And now you got, dudes, putting out there. Allah musta'an, Allah musta'an.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Shaykh Uthman, we'll end up on that note. I love the story.
This is exclusive for Gabriel Romaani's channel. We haven't even posted. We're going to put a video of it, inshallah, coming out. But alhamdulillah. I mean, we ask Allah to protect all of our brothers here, mashallah, and keep us on the fitrah and keep us in the Quran and Sunnah.
Ameen, ameen.
Allah. Brothers and sisters, please listen, re-listen, and those steps, right? I think we just summarize it to go back to Quran and Sunnah. Just study the life of the Prophet. And you want a manual of what to do, how to do.
That's it.
By step, that's it.
I mean, this is the thing. The Salaf Salihin, why do we always talk about them? Because they're such an amazing example for us. You go back and you see how they dealt with their families, how they dealt with their wives, their children. Today, a woman will talk about her love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How I love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How come you don't wash dishes like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did at home? What? How many wives did Rasulullah have?
9. Imagine
if you want to get a second, they get so upset. Imagine being married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has 9 wives, right? So if you live by it, don't just talk about it. Live by it, right? And you want to man up, there you go. You want to know how to be a woman? How is Aisha radiallahu anha? How is Khadija radiallahu anha? You want to be like Maryam radiallahu anha? I mean, if you look at Maryam alayhi salam radiallahu anha, whatever you want to say, she was such an amazing, from the Islamic perspective, mother and support, right? That today, imagine a woman today who would have just said, let me abort the child. Right? Think about that, right? I mean, today people are like, I don't have time because of my career. Women, I don't have my career. Imagine if Maryam alayhi salam was like that. Imagine if Khadija radiallahu anha was like, what do you mean you got a mission of da'wah? I got a business to run, imagine, right? But no. They sacrificed and they did, and Allah elevated their ranks. The woman's beauty is in being a woman. Cooking and cleaning and stitching and sewing are not things to be ashamed of. These are things to be proud of, right? A man's value is in being a man, If you're sitting at home crying because you can't slaughter a chicken, you aren't a man. I don't care if you're sensitive and whatever. You're not a man, right? Step up. Be a man. You know what to do, right? If you don't know, ask Gabriel.
Barakallah.
Barakallah. Pleasure sitting with you, brothers. Come Allah. Marhaban, anytime. San Diego's your home. This masjid's your home.
Barakallah.
It really is your home.